Welcome, everyone. This is our Mastermind, Put Your Dream to the Test. And so glad you could all join us for this wonderful day to dive in and dream really big. Welcome to Unstuck University. We'd like to kick these things off with an attitude of gratitude. So who would like to go first? Something you're thankful for?
I am thankful. This is Marta, and I am thankful to have an opportunity to find out how to get my dream started, either in the church or in the secular world.
Awesome. Thank you, Marta.
Cool.
Anybody else?
This is Denise, and I'm thankful for sunshine today and for the ability to, even though I don't golf or do landscaping or garden, I'm happy that we can do it.
Right on. That's good.
Yeah.
Who else?
Grateful for the beautiful sunshine today.
Wonderful. Thank you, David.
So I got one that's kind of lengthy. Ro, were we going to go, Denise?
I went. Didn't you hear me?
I did, but okay. So,
He was out at the boat.
Yeah.
It's not an epiphany, but it was like something that just hit home. A lot of times we don't feel like doing stuff like this, the exercise things. Like, I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. Who's gonna know? Who cares? Who's gonna affect somebody else? But then Suzanne said something to me the other day. She goes, "So you started walking, and I haven't seen you yet, or heard you doing it." And it's like, yeah, I don't care right now. And then it hit me. It's like that's where discipline kicks in. You got to have the discipline to do it when you don't feel like doing it. So I went and I started back again and doing it. And I just got to keep it in the forefront. It's discipline. So I'm thankful that I had that wake up call from a simple question my wife asked, why aren't you walking anymore, fat boy? Okay, I'll start.
That's a good one.
That was it. Yeah.
Behind every good man, there's a good woman,
Yep.
I second that. So who else? What about the other Dave Travis?
I'm just thankful that for my health. Just to let you guys know, one of my goals for this year is to lose weight, and I've lost 16 pounds so far this year.
Awesome.
So been walking every day and between 5 and 7 miles, and I have time to now, but I've made a commitment, and just thankful for being healthy. So
That's great, Dave.
Yeah, that is great. Bert, do you have something for us?
Yeah, last night I had the chance. I'm up here at our ranch up in Rodney, Michigan, and had a chance to walk the property, and it was just awesome being here with my son, Noah, just being able to spend time with him. And we have about 45 deer on the property, and just trying to stock them. And just, it's so amazing that they are so much smarter than we are when it comes to being out in the wild. And basically I saw 4 of them last night. I know they're all out here, but I only saw 4 of them last night because they kept on staying a step ahead of me. So it was just really awesome to track them and to just enjoy God's creation. So I'm thankful for that today.
were the deer social distancing?
We're practicing social distancing, yes, significantly.
And what's the name of this place that you have there, Bert?
Yeah, so we own Full Rut Ranch up in Rodney, Michigan. And I talked about this, I think it was week 1 actually, of Put Our Dream to the Test. And we talked about how I eventually wanted to own a piece of property up north where we could do hunting and just have a place to get together and have, guys weekends away, or, have ladies weekends away. The wives can do that. And so Real Leadership Company, we're going to be hosting, as soon as this COVID-19 thing gets figured out, we'll be hosting a couple of weekends up here for guys, and hopefully even have some ladies retreats up here as well. But it's 80 acres, high fence property, so you can walk on the property and see the deer. We're actually getting 2 elk on the property next month, and they're just to look at. There's no hunting the elk. They're just going to be the mascots of the property that walk around, and we can enjoy them. And we have goat carts, which is awesome. So we're developing a goat cart track up here. for people to ride on. And we also do some skeet shooting. So it's pretty awesome. So it's fullrutranch.com. You can check it out. We're in Rodney, about 2.5 hours away from Metro Detroit, but it's a great little place to be.
Awesome.
I hope I don't miss the skeet and hit the elk. That would be a bad thing.
Yeah, it probably would.
Yes, that would be a bad.
Well, hey, I'm thankful for the opportunities that are arising out of the crisis that we're in, and the thought process and as Keith said it, the epiphanies that have been developing in the midst of all this, in our desire to seek whatever it is, technology or figuring out ways to do things differently because of how things are currently. I'm thankful for the opportunities in the midst of the crisis. So it's pretty cool. So, hey, we're going to get started here. And I think, Bert, we wanted to start with the last week's kind of assignment for everyone to the Put Your Dream to the Test weekly dream activity tracker.
Yep, that's correct. So this is the activity tracker that we shared last week. And the challenge was for everybody to spend, even if it's just a few minutes a day, putting down an activity, what you did, what the outcomes were. And because again, the whole purpose of this, like we've already alluded to, it's discipline. It's starting to form new habits. It's starting to think of our dream in tangible ways. As Keith always likes to say, this is where the nuts and the bolts happen. This is where the rubber begins to meet the road. And if we don't do these things, if we're not taking the time to think about our dream, it's not going to happen, right? In order to achieve it, you have to see it. And so that's what we're going to look at today. So we just want to start. We're not asking you guys to share your sheet with us, but we absolutely do want you to walk through what your week looked like. So you can summarize and say, day 1, I did this, day 2, I did this, what were the outcomes? And then answer the questions at the bottom. Did you work on your dream every day for the past week, even if it was for a few minutes, yes or no? Is your dream clearer today than it was a week ago, yes or no? And if you answered no to either of the questions, why not? And if you answered yes, what needs to happen next? So I'll ask who wants to start first, but if no one goes, then I'm going to start calling on people. So go ahead. Obviously, Marty, you get a pass this week. Here.
Okay, great.
All right. I'll jump in.
Who worked? You go for it, Dave.
All right. To answer the first question, no, I did not do it every day. But to answer the second question does things seem clearer now than they did a week ago? Absolutely. First, like on Saturday, we met together, got the assignments. That was my Saturday activity. On Monday, I contacted my grad school. We'll just back up. What I said is I want to pursue my CPA. And so I contacted my grad school, which is where I took most of my accounting classes to date. And they also offer CPA prep classes, and part of one of their things is help. They also I went to their website, and the website talked about how they're offer CPA support, CPA prep support. So I contacted the school and to see what I need and also what they have available. I also sent an email on Monday to my employer, to my HR department, to find out what kind of tuition assistance is available. So then on Tuesday, the school got back with me. They gave me a list of classes that I need and also what they provide. I also sent an email to my undergrad school, which I only had one accounting class, just to request the documentation for that. And then I also got a response back from my employer that the policy says that they offer tuition assistance, but right now, because of our company's financial situation, that's on hold. So we'll have to wait and see when that kicks back in. But then on Thursday, I talked to a good friend of mine who gave me an idea that I shouldn't just go to my undergrad school, even though I think they have a really good program, to my grad school, which was Walsh. But I need to go maybe look at some other opportunities like Macomb or some other cheaper schools that may offer those same type of financial classes cheaper. And so if my company's not going to pay for them and I'm end up paying for them, there may be some other opportunities. So that was a conversation that I had that I think gave me some good ideas. And that's basically what I did this week.
That's great, Dave.
Okay, so you basically, out of the 7 days, you did something like 5 of the 7 days then, correct?
I say yes, exactly.
Okay. So we asked you, did you work on your dream every day? You are obviously said no. If you answered no, why not? What made you not work on your dream the full 7 days? What do you think was preventing you from doing that?
Part of it is because I wasn't sure what to do about I thought it was a roadblock when I wasn't expecting to get back from my employer when they said they wouldn't pay for the classes.
Right.
So I came into kind of a block with that because being laid off, finances are an issue right now. But I also think that's I just need to look into more, and obviously when you were the person I talked to on Thursday to kind of get me going again. And so I need to pursue that and, just push beyond that roadblock.
Walk us through the mental roadblock you had when you called. So you got a plan, right? You call Walsh, you're ready to go. You got your plan in place. Your employer does tuition reimbursement or assistance. You call them, they tell you, yes, we offer this program, but no, it's not available right now. What happened in your mind?
I started thinking, well, maybe things are going to have to be delayed. Financially, I've told my wife that there's some things she wants to go to school. So there's some things I need to do for her if we're going to be paying for it. My entire thought process before was that I wouldn't have to pay for this. I didn't pay for grad school at all. It was all paid for by the company. So my thinking was that it was all going to be, and still hopefully will be primarily that way. But I just kind of felt stuck a little bit. Not entirely. I had other things I've been working on, but as far as this goal, I put it on hold for a minute.
Yeah, and really, it was a day, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like was there any point in your mindset where you said to yourselves, well, this dream is over with, it's done, I'm going to walk away from it, woe is me? Did that happen?
Not at all.
Okay. It's good, because for the majority of Americans, that's exactly what would have happened, right? They show up in West Virginia, they break down, and now they live in West Virginia. So you decided you're not going to live in West Virginia. You're going to keep on pushing through, right?
Absolutely. Well,
And Marta, I apologize.
And one of the things that's gotten me going too is with my company's financial situation, I do think things will pick up again, but the COVID-19 wasn't the only issue. We've had, even when the economy was really good, we've had some significant struggles. So even if the company, never brings back the tuition assistance, I need to pursue this just for my own career opportunities and to be sure that I'm not, so that I'm not controlled by what the company does and what happens to their finances.
Absolutely. That's great. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for Dave?
No.
Okay.
That
So
was
who
pretty
wants to go
detailed.
next? It was very good. It was very good. Keith, David, or Denise, who's up next?
I'll go
I'll
next.
go. Oh, okay,
Oops.
go ahead, Denise.
Okay, so On day one, which is the last time we met, I'm a health coach and I want to get my business restarted, just in case you don't remember. And I wanted to review these modules. I have 12 health coaching modules that I have to kind of just make sure they're perfect and ready to go when I'm ready for this gig at Reforming Foundation. So on day one, I reviewed one module. On day two, I reviewed another one. On day three, I had an idea and I offered to barter with the Pilates studio, one of the instructors, so that she can be health coached by me, so that when the time comes, she knows how I work and she knows that I am a qualified person and they're going to be excited to work with me. And so that's probably going to happen. So her and I are just going to Zoom and barter. So that's going to be kind of fun. Day four, I did review 2 modules. And day 5, I did something kind of out of the box. I contacted Fox 2 News, Channel 7 and Channel 4. And I presented via email some ideas for live segments for me to be on. So I'm hoping I can get on, that's kind of one of my bucket lists, to be on a live news segment with my health coaching stuff. So the goal there would be to get some clients, right? That'd be good. And then day 6 and 7, I did review 2 modules each. So I did do something every day, and my dream is clearer, yes.
Oh, very cool. Any feedback for Denise? Any questions for Denise?
Nope.
So Denise, how you said how many total modules were there that you have to go through?
There's 12 and I've done 7.
Okay, awesome. Great. So you're more than halfway done with the modules, which is
Yep.
awesome. How long does the module take?
How long did it take? To review, it takes probably a half hour. To present a module would be like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, but that includes questions and answers. So I try to make them about the same time, because our goal is to do an hour session 12 times over 6 months. So that's my goal is.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So you actually worked on, you did what? You did all 7 days. You did something this past week.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. What I know, I didn't have much else to do. No distractions.
That's great. And talk about, so I love the fact that you developed yourself by reviewing your modules. You bartered and traded. Can you walk us through what that was like, and because a lot of times people don't think about the concept of bartering and trading. So walk us through.
Okay. So
this is something you've done before.
Well, my thought process, yes, I have done it with a massage therapist. I got a couple massages and I health coached her. But see, right now everybody's kind of short on cash. And I had this whole program set up at Reforming Foundations that has kind of gone dead, but they haven't really experienced me. And the owner of the place told me Rebecca really wants to enlist my services, and she's the marketing person there. So I emailed her and said, hey, Rebecca, what if we barter? Why don't I health coach you? We'll do 4 sessions to start, and I need help with my body. I have a lot of aches and pains, and you can help me with Pilates. And then she said, oh my gosh, yes, let's do it. So we're going to Zoom, and we're not, there's no money exchange, but my goal, my end game is she's going to be confident that I know what I'm doing. And when I come into the studio, she'll be able to recommend me to people. And it's kind of like a whole word of mouth thing. So I think it's going to be really beneficial.
Denise,
That's
can I
awesome,
ask you a
Denise.
question?
Yes, Marta.
My son is a fitness trainer, and I understand what that means, and he used to train me.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure exactly what is a health coach. Can you explain that to me?
Oh, of course. So a health coach, people think that we just are like nutritionists or dietitians, but we are not. We do not just tell people what to eat and what not to eat. What I do is I look at 12 different areas of your life, including your career, your relationships, your joy, your home, if you home cook, how much of your food you're home cooking. A lot of it is about food, but a lot of it is about lifestyle. There's an exercise I do which identifies the imbalances in somebody's life across these 12 categories. So I not only deal with food, I end up being like a therapist a lot of the times.
Okay, that sounds great. I am very healthy right now. I had a liver cancer scare a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
A couple of years ago, actually, had to have surgery. I was blessed. God blessed in the process. Had no chemotherapy, no radiation.
Oh,
But I am always concerned exactly what could I have done different that perhaps I would not have had to deal with it at all.
yes.
So perhaps at some time in the future, I'm retired, but
Yeah.
perhaps sometime in the future we could meet.
We could talk, of course. Yes, sure.
Okay, great.
All right, Marta. Well, I'm so glad that you didn't have radiation and chemo. Good for you. Gosh, that's a blessing.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Well, very good job this week, Denise. It's awesome. Great work.
Hey, real
David,
quick.
who's next?
Real quick, Denise, do you
Go
have
ahead,
a phone number or email address
Yeah.
you can give to Marta?
Yeah,
Because she's
Marta.
on the phone.
Yeah, Marta, I'll just give you my phone number. Can you write it down?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, it's 248-330-6189.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
David and
go ahead,
Keith,
Bert.
who's next?
Okay, I'll go.
I'll go. Or go ahead, Keith.
Okay, so my goal that I talked about before was the exercise, the walking, and that's where I fell off the bandwagon and got back on it. So it was Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday I did my walking. I did some walking like out for a half hour, just walking down the streets and stuff. And I come back in, it was too cold the next couple of days, so I walked on the tread climber. That tread climber, you up for 15 minutes, I'm dying because it's not just flat out walking, it's going uphill and stuff. So I've been doing that. But the big thing I got done every day that I was working on during the work week was our website and the new business plan going forward. Working with Cindy, who's redoing my website. We're redoing marketing ideas on what's worked in the past, what's not worked in the past. And we're not going to put any money out for Google AdWords or going out into Yelp. We're just going to re-strategize the website, basically redoing the search engine optimization, which apparently it's not called that anymore. There's some other terminology. So we've been doing that every day. I'm on the computer finding other competitors in other parts of the country, what they're doing, how they're offering stuff. And so I've been rewriting a lot of stuff and getting it to Cindy, and then we're going back and forth on everything. And I think we've got so probably almost nailed down for her to finish this thing up now. So that was huge for me. That was it.
Very cool. So did you work on it every day this week, or do you think it was 5 days, 4 days? What do you think?
The website, the website stuff and marketing was every day. There was at least
Okay.
2 hours every day on this.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. And so is it clearer? I mean, your dream of what you're trying to do, of being healthier and keeping to work on your business, is it getting clearer each day that you push this through?
Yep, absolutely. This thing going over, just rethinking the website, and rethinking marketing of this company, how it's going to go in this new age now. I'm not going to say the new normal because I don't like that cliche, but in this new age we're coming into, it's a whole new ball game, and we got to be ready for it and market accordingly for that. In the health aspect, the discipline got to me finally, so I'm in.
Keith,
That's
talk
great.
about for a minute, you know, when you first started off on this journey of now trying to figure out, you know, of rebranding, remarketing, whatever, that can be a really daunting, challenging, scary thing to look at, right? Because there's so much you could do. So when you first took that first step this week of saying, hey, I'm going to do this, walk through that process and what you did, because once you start unfolding the first step, the other steps after that tend to open up pretty quickly, right?
Yes, it was huge. It was overwhelming. All the stuff that's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. My website would be 500 pages if I got all the really neat stuff put in there. What we've decided on is a few pages. I just need to get people interested, cause them some pain, or, you know, give them some examples of maybe what they're going through, and get them to call me. Once they call in, then it's my job to finish the deal, to go in and to talk to them and see what their issues are. But it was huge trying to figure out what I'm going to do on this website. And we finally decided, you know what, we're going to make this a minimalist website and get the points out there that they will call into us to talk to us. That's where it's going to come into the relationship building of it. So I'm just not another Joe phone company they're talking to.
Very cool. That's good. That's good. Anybody have any questions or feedback for Keith?
Just some feedback, Keith, with regard to your website. I'm no advertising designer, web person, expert by any stretch, but my understanding of people is their attention spans are very short. So I think you're wiser to be brief and to the point and pique their interests and then engage them yourself, just exactly like you were saying. That's perfect.
Good, thank you.
I have something to say to you, Keith, as a health
Yes,
coach.
Denise.
As a health
Okay.
coach. I wanted to tell you that you can never get today back again. So every day you miss is gone. You're not going to get a chance to walk that day. So don't do that.
Okay. You're right. Absolutely
good.
right, Denise.
Good accountability, Denise. Okay, David, you're up. You ready?
I am ready. I've been bracing myself here. Anyway, so I did 5 of the 7 days. The first day I attended this really great class on dreaming, and it was awesome. And then the next day I basically spent focused on, as you know, kind of my motivation, my ability to really wrap my hands around my dream has kind of been part of my struggle, huge part of my struggle. And so I spent a good chunk of the day praying about that and trying to wrap my mind and my heart around what was going on with that. I gained a little ground there, I think. Then the next day I registered for a seminar that it's a real estate investing related seminar that I've been wanting to go to, and so I went ahead and registered for that. The next 2 days I missed, really just because my evenings had other things in them, and I didn't plan around that. Like I could have made the time. I just didn't think ahead far enough to do that. I lacked Keith's discipline of making sure that I had the time to do that. And then the next day I worked on researching telephone options because I realized I'm going to need another phone line or another phone number at least with regard to the real estate portion of that. And then yesterday I'm realizing I need to immerse myself more in the things that are important to me. So with regard to the real estate portion of this, I went ahead and looked at some different podcasts and things and subscribed to a couple, so that when I have time that's focused but not so focused I can't have that going in the background, I can kind of feed my mind with ideas and keep the wheels turning rather than letting me get sidetracked all the time, which tends to be my habit.
That's good.
That's it.
Cool.
That's awesome. So you said that there were basically what, 2 days out of the week that you were not able to work on your dream. Is that correct?
Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday. I lead a Bible study on Wednesday nights, and Tuesday I spent prepping for that, and I was just really tired, and it I forgot all about the sheet. I didn't even think about it, and I could have, like, if I had thought the day before, okay, I need to make this a piece of my day or a piece of my evening or whatever, I could have done it. I'm not trying to say that, that I couldn't have. I could have, but that's where my mind was, and I didn't do it.
That's awesome. Great. So the one thing that's really important to remember and focus on as we are working to reprogram or rewire our brains is to remember that this concept of that thoughts and beliefs drive actions, actions drive results, right? So the dream, the end picture is the result that we all want. And the actions are the things that we all did this week based upon our weekly dream activity tracker. But because we all didn't spend 7 straight days of working on our dream, that means that there's still a thought and belief issue. that we have to get taken care of, right? So, for example, we're watching the NFL draft this week because there's nothing else to watch sports related. And you hear the stories of some of these players and what they had to do. There's one kid that got drafted in the first round, and he's a kid who lived in Youngstown, Ohio, which, you know, has the murder rate in Youngstown, Ohio is 7 times the national average. And this is a kid who was actually homeless for 3 years while he was in high school. And they talk about his story, yet he had this relentless pursuit of football. And he was going to be a football star, and he was going to play football, and football became his church, and the team became his family, and the locker room became his home. And because he relentlessly pursued football, this young man got drafted in the first round of the NFL draft this year. And it's all because his thoughts and his beliefs were trained on what the end result was going to be. He believed in the beauty of the future of his dream. But if his thoughts and beliefs weren't lined up, how easy would it be for a kid who's a junior in high school who's homeless to say, you know what? This is not going to happen for me. Everyone else gets to go home to a hot meal at night, and I'm sleeping in the locker room because my coach is allowing me to stay here. It's not going to happen for me. But it's the thoughts and the beliefs. He trained his thoughts and his beliefs to allow him to modify his actions, which then produced the results that he wanted. So this past week, as we gave you guys that very first game plan for the week, right? As we have the weekly dream activity sheet for week number 1, we know that it takes what? How many days does it take to form a habit? Anybody know?
21.
Right. The experts say anywhere between 15 and 24 days, right? But 21 days is a really good measure to begin with. If we all want to become dream planters, right? If we want to be planting seeds and cultivating dreams, we need to invest 21 days, 21 consecutive days of working on our dream. Because when we do that, our thoughts and beliefs change. And when your thoughts and beliefs change, the actions change, which means you're going to get the results that you want, right? So we just did week 1, okay? And some of us were really close to 7 days. Some of us were 4 days, whatever the case is. And I want to encourage you, kind of like Dave Travis, when he said he called, okay, I got this plan. I've been working on this for 3 days. I have the plan set up. Now, today is the day I'm going to call the company and say, I'm ready to enroll in classes. Where's my money to do this? And when they say no, we have to have a Nate Rockwell mentality, right? Again, Nate Rockwell's story is on our website. Nate Rockwell says, I want to start a restaurant. I have a business plan. I have money. He goes to the angel funders. They say, this is great. This is awesome. But no, you have to do it for half of that. You're allowed to have 1 day of sulking and 1 day of being angry and frustrated and throwing yourself a pity party for 1 day. As long as in that 1 day, you're still thinking about your dream, the next day you have to get back up and, you know what can I do to make this happen? So it's okay to have those days, as long as that activity, even in your sulking and your pity, you're still thinking about your dream. That still counts because you're pushing through, right? There's an awesome story. A good friend of mine, Seth, he has a picture in his office, and it's a picture of these buffalo that are running towards a storm, right? And so there's a difference between a buffalo, a bison, and a cow. Okay, when a storm starts to arise, when a storm starts rolling in over the plains, cows, they run from it. They run away from the storm. But what they're doing, though, as they run away from the storm is still chasing them. The fear is still there. They end up prolonging the pain and the storm because they keep walking with the storm, trying to get away from it. But bison turn and they run into the storm because they know that the sooner they get through that cold front that's driving that storm into them, if they can run at the storm and they're running at it 10 miles an hour, the storm's coming at them 20 miles an hour, guess what happens? They get through the storm faster. The clouds begin to dissipate, the rain stops, the wind stops. They face the storm head on and they run into it, because the sooner they get into that storm, the faster it's going to end. That's what we need to do. Our thoughts and our beliefs need to change about our dreams. When things get tough, when we feel like there's a storm with our dream, we have to run through the storm. We have to push through the storm like bison do. So for the next 2 weeks, we want you guys to continue to work on these dream activity trackers. We want you to make this a habit that every single day you're working on your dream. You've already done week 1, and Marta, you haven't done any weeks yet, but you're welcome to start it now. We want you guys for the next 2 weeks to continue to do this as we continue to work through John Maxwell's book, Put Your Dream to the Test. Okay? Any questions on that?
Okay, do you recommend that we purchase that book?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, great.
If you have a Kindle,
Okay.
you can buy it. I think it's $4.90. It's a fantastic book. I definitely recommend it. Yep.
Okay, thank you. I'll get that.
Okay. If
Bert?
that's it.
I just wanted to throw out real
Yes, you were
quick.
saying something.
Bert,
Yeah.
you guys hear me? Okay. I just wanted to throw out real quick. Yesterday, I was, one of my goals has been to get my 10,000 steps in every day. And I was looking back at prior months when it was something I wanted to do, but not something I was committed to doing. And for the last year, it'd been 3 or 4 days each month, maybe 5, that I reached that 10,000 steps. This month, I've done it every day. And it seems like at the end of the day, if I haven't reached it, I was like, I got to get out there. It's just something that it's not a question of when I'm going to do it. So my mindset has totally changed, in doing this 3 weeks consecutively. My mindset's changed where it's becoming just a part of my day. And I think that's that's consistent with what you were saying about that 3-week consistency.
That's great.
That's
Dave.
cool, Dave. It's cool.
I've been eating chocolate for 21 days. Does that count?
Sure.
Dark chocolate, that's good, right?
I risked my life to go to Walmart to get it, so I really get it again.
That's the health coach telling us that. So
Whatever.
Denise, I'm not sure if I'm going to call you after all.
My
That's
husband
cute.
says, girls need chocolate. Just do it.
Yes. Dark chocolate is good for the heart.
Hey, Marta, we have all shared with each other kind of what our dreams and aspirations are. And since you're new to the group this week, would you mind just sharing a little bit, kind of maybe what your dreams are, what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, I kind of have 2 dreams, as I stated. They kind of are intertwined together. One is to I have a son that is in a nursing home, but now he's in the hospital. So I don't want his life to be in vain. So I want to start a nonprofit in his name. So that's one of my dreams. His name is Quentin. We call him lovingly Q. So Q Cares, LLC. And I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Dave that spoke about the seminar. So I want to, after listening to you guys, go to a seminar on starting a LLC, a nonprofit. And then the other time, I am a member of your church, would be just to give little random care baskets to first-time visitors, whether they ask for them or not. Just maybe because we take a lot of notes at our church, guys. And so just a nice journal, devotional, a pen, maybe some sanitizer or hand cream or, little inexpensive cologne, just something to let people know that God loves you, we love you, and you're special. So that's where my heart is just doing something to help people.
That's wonderful.
It's really good, Marta. We're sorry to hear about your son, but I absolutely love the heart and the passion behind honoring him. And like you said, the words you use is that you don't want his life to be in vain, right? We all desire to have a legacy that carries
Exactly.
on. Tom, what's the phrase, Tom, that John Maxwell always uses about legacy?
Yeah, that he says, I want to build legs to my legacy, right?
Right.
And And that's what, when he's reaching out, it's not just him doing something, but it's him equipping other people to be the legs to his legacy.
So
Yeah.
all of this
So-
information is good.
That's good, Marta. Great. It's awesome. So we're going to support you, Marta, throughout this entire process, and hopefully you'll get some good ideas and you'll set moving to putting that dream to the test of Q's legacy. I love that, which is very cool. So what we want to do, guys, is we want to jump in page 31 on your study guide. We're still in chapter 5. I want to go back and just recap on number 4, and then we're going to do 5 and 6. Tom, do you want to start? We'll do 4, 5, and 6 starting on page 31. Make sure that we're using the resources.
Yeah. So number 4 was utilize all your resources. Utilize all your resources. How can you utilize resources available to you to implement your plan? So that's the resources sitting around us at this present time. What can you use? Before we go into that, so I typically ask my students, I would ask them, if you had all the resources in the world, what one thing would you do? And a lot of them would share things that they really could be doing right now, right? But they just don't think about it. They don't think that they have enough of the resources and things to do that. So again, here's the question. How can you utilize resources available to you right now to implement your plan?
I'm sorry, what page are we on again?
31.
Thank you.
Well,
So
for
this
me,
week, many of you guys got your plan and you've discovered some resources. You know there more are needed. So go ahead and talk about that. What resources did you guys utilize this past week, and what other resources do you still have to tap into?
I think that when I was talking about bartering, I'm a resource, and I'm bartering my talent and my skills to the Pilates instructor. So I think that's a good use of resources, right? I know a lot about health and she knows a lot about Pilates. So, and then I think last week I talked about all of the modules I have. I have really good content, and I've been pushing that out on my social media platforms.
Great.
That's great.
And Keith, you've been using the treadmill.
Yeah. The big resource I have has been my Cindy, my marketing person. She's not only a website person, but she's a pretty good business strategist. And this team here is a great help too, to run by things, things by everybody. Because you can't do it on your own. And I tried that for 40 some years, thinking I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. Well, you don't need anybody if you just want to stay mediocre. You're not going to get past mediocre, in my opinion, doing it on your own. You need to have a good team sharing the same dream.
That's good.
One resource I used is when I reached out to the to my grad school and to the resources that they had available. And when I first went to the state's website, I was overwhelmed because I thought it was saying I needed 150 hours of accounting classes in order to get the CPA. I contacted the school and they said, no, that was just 150 hours of total college and only 30 hours of accounting. And since my undergrad is not in accounting, all those hours, most of them don't count, but they do count towards that 150. So my resource that I use was finding someone who had a better understanding of the requirements, and and contacting that person at Walsh that had that knowledge.
It's really good. Who else?
well, for me, it's reaching out to people who know things that I don't know. Like that seminar I was talking about that I registered for. There are people in my world who have some experience doing what I'm trying to do, and so and really just sharing what I'm doing with people, because that makes it real in my mind and theirs, and they become sort of involuntary what's the word I want, accountability people, because they ask me about it. Hey, how's that going? So, and to me, that's a big thing.
Right on. Very good.
Great.
All right. I think is that everybody? I think so. But Marta, since you're here, what resources are around you that you could utilize to help you in your cause?
My own personal money.
Hey, that's good.
I mean, of course, I will look to some foundations myself, but I don't have to actually wait until the LLC is up and running to reach out and help people.
That's awesome. It's good to hear.
It's good.
All right,
There's
great.
a lot that goes into running. There's a lot that goes into running a nonprofit too, Marta, right? Because that's what you're trying to do. So, you know, there are resources, there's CPAs, there, like you said, there's classes. There are so many free classes online that you can take. For example, LegalZoom offers free classes on how to establish a nonprofit, how to register a trademark, how to get all those things going. So don't be afraid to look at those options.
Can you give me that name again?
Resources that yeah, LegalZoom. LegalZoom is it's just one website out there that can help you. They have attorneys.
Oh, okay.
You pay that can help you establish, right? And there's plenty of others. I'm not advocating LegalZoom, but that's one that just comes to mind. But when it comes to resources as well, you know, Tom has talked about this in the past, is that there's always going to be someone out there who is smarter than you, that has more experience than you, that has been there and done that, right? And so why on earth would we create the wheel for something when someone's already doing it? A perfect example for Tom and I is we've always been passionate about leadership. So we could have tried to develop our own leadership training protocol and blah, 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 or we could just team up with the world's most renowned leadership guru, John Maxwell. And that's what we decided to do. We don't need to make a name for ourselves. We can use John Maxwell's name to build out our business. And so that's one reason why we decided to do that. So remember, human resources are just that. They're humans that are amazing resources to us. So we need to make sure that we are tapping into all of those human resources around us that can help us. So just remember
that's very good. Thank you.
Are going to be
humans. Thank you so much for that, because as you're speaking with me, I'm thinking about my daughter-in-law who is a CPA. She's still working, not in that capacity. She works for the state of Michigan, but you know, that's a family member that can help with the foundation in honor of my son's name.
Absolutely.
That's great. So, you know, I was just listening to a podcast with John Maxwell, and his CEO of the company said that he had to train John on how to use Zoom. John is very technology illiterate. And, you know, and here's the thing for everyone to think about, because he staffs his weaknesses, right? John staffs his weaknesses. So he usually has someone else to handle all the media and technology as far as that's concerned. But in this case, because of the social distancing, he had to step it up a little bit, right? But typically, he staffs his weaknesses. He connects to the resources that he has. But let me throw out real quick some things for us to think about. When you're challenged to find resources around you, you want to think of things in terms of the industry. Like when I say lawyer, who do you think of? When I say fitness coach, who do you think of? When I say pastor, who do you think of? When I say real estate agent, who do you think of? Right? And so when these words come out, they usually trigger somebody that we know that are right there in our sphere of influence. That's pretty awesome. Now, real quick story. My former pastor got into real estate. But when I thought about real estate agents, I never thought of him. He never came to my mind. And so after I pursued a housing project, he got offended because I didn't choose to use him. But it wasn't because I didn't want to use him. I didn't think about him, right? So typically people won't fall in the category that they need to fall into because of what they do. But anyway, as we list these categories, perhaps we could discover that there's people in our sphere of influence that we can use as resources.
Tom, that's a really good jump to that too, just to point out. So when you're thinking about your dream, when you think to yourself, man, I'm going to need a building, you're going to need a real, you're going to need, you're going to need to know somebody in the city that knows about zoning. Or if you want to do CPA, you can write down, what CPAs do I currently know? So I can start talking to them. Like if you want to become something, you should get to be friends with people that you want to become with, right? So for example, my son, he wants to be an astronaut. So we've been working to try to find, not necessarily astronauts. I guess maybe I'm not dreaming big enough there for him, but we're trying to find other kids that are like-minded that desire to be astronauts one day. Because if you want to become something, you need to be around other people that want to do the same thing. That's what drives you and motivates you. And that's why we signed Brady to go to space. Because if he wants to be an astronaut, I'm not going to send him, to Charlie's summer camp where they just do fishing. That's not going to get him passionate about space. We're trying to get him surrounded by other like-minded individuals that are going to help propel him and push him in that direction. So I think what Tom just said is so very important. If you're trying to do something or develop your dream, what other people have already paved the way, have already gone there, write down those types of people, maybe not their name, but the profession. And then as you're going through your day-to-day or looking at LinkedIn or whatever the case is, you're going to say, oh, here's somebody that does exactly what I want to do. I need to get to know them or get close to them.
Hey, Bert, you need to connect your son with you need to contact the Rachel Ray Show. She always connects people with people in the profession. I'm not kidding. She just had on a bunch of, I don't watch Rachel Ray, but she always puts people on and she connects them. She just had somebody with a female fighter pilot with a young 12-year-old girl. She brought them both to the show and they met each other and she's going to mentor her. So I'm just saying it's out there.
That'd be cool.
Absolutely. I think, Bert, you referenced earlier on about the young man that got drafted for the football, or what was football, right? Anyway, how he kept pursuing his dream and just like, Brady pursuing his dream. I remember back when my son Ricky, he wanted to be a NBA basketball player, and so I wanted to encourage that as much as possible. And in the process of that, I wanted to tie faith with the sport, and so we were fortunate to get to go to. I knew the chaplain to the Pistons, and so we got to go and do Bible study with the Pistons prior to a game. And it was just really cool for him to have that experience, to get to rub shoulders with these sports heroes and see that they're just regular people, and they have faith too, and so it was very powerful and inspiring for him. Now, although he didn't choose to continue to pursue that dream, it still made an impact on his life, one that he'll never forget. And I think if we can do that in any of our cases, in any of our relationships with folks, and help people, achieve their goals somehow, connect them with somebody. Again, Simon Sinek was sharing that this person said that they wrote screenplays. And he says, well, tell me the story of the screenplay. She says, I don't want to tell you because I don't want you to steal it. And he's like, I'm not going to steal it. I have no desire to write a screenplay. But she wouldn't tell him what it was. And he said this, he said, because she didn't tell him what it was, he didn't know who to connect her to. Right? And because we're sharing our dream, it gives us, it jogs the memory, right? Jogs our memory. when you say play, who do you think of? When you say movies, who do you think of? So when these people come to your mind, you're able to help one another, and be those resources, right? So anything else before we move to this next question on the same topic?
Tom, I was just thinking, just quickly, when you said about your pastor that became a realtor, how you didn't think of him. I think that falls on him then, because he didn't do the marketing to get you to think of him when you thought of real estate agent. So as we pursue whatever we're pursuing, our marketing becomes really important as well.
Absolutely. That does have to be another piece of the pie. And I think, even for me, as you said that, I think there's a lot of people even at my church that don't know the extent of what I do outside the church. They just think I'm the music guy and that's it. But there's so much more to me than meets the eye for them, because they only see that. In fact, if they saw or heard the band that I was in prior to, they would blow their mind, right? Because they don't see that in me at the church. So yeah, you
That
gotta
was a pretty
definitely
famous
up the
band.
marketing. What's that?
I said, that was a pretty famous band you were in, pal.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, it was certainly different than what I'm doing right now. So
We played for Petra one day, so.
yes,
Yep.
sir.
That's good.
Yeah, and that was one of my dreams.
Let's go on.
Go ahead, Bert.
Awesome, man. Yeah, go on to number 5 then. It says remove all non-essentials. And I just think it's so ironic that we're talking about non-essentials in the middle of a pandemic. Because there's a story, there's a correlation there, right? And so what is your greatest challenge? I'm just gonna relate this totally to the pandemic that we're going through. And I wanna be clear, nobody is non-essential, right? We get that, everybody is essential. But when it comes to fighting a pandemic, we understand how if you take a ping pong ball, if you were to set up a bunch of mouse traps on the floor in a room, and you took one ping pong ball, and that one ping pong ball represents one person with a virus, and you throw it into the room and it bounces off one mouse trap, all of a sudden that mouse trap engages and it flips up in the air and it starts to hit other mouse traps, and pretty soon all the mouse traps in the room have gone off because one person with the virus walked into that room. And so the reason why they've designated essential and non-essential workers during this time, because those people who have to work to keep the economy moving, the truckers, the grocery store workers, the caregivers, the nurses, the doctors, those people that have to keep working so people can work from home, they're essential. But the reason why they had to designate non-essential is because if we allowed non-essential workers to go back into the workforce, we wouldn't be able to flatten, right? So when it comes to our dreams, sometimes there are non-essential things that we do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and we do these things and they're not essential to the sowing and reaping of our dreams. And so that produces some challenges for us, right? And so what are the challenges? What are the greatest challenges that you are facing right now with your dreams? And what are the obvious daily or weekly things that you need to give up to pursue your dream? Who wants to go first?
One of my challenges is going to be taking the time to take the classes and to study for the exam, obviously, when it gets to that. I'm very busy as it is. So just finding the time between work, family, church, other responsibilities, and frankly, between the time I waste to fit in those things that I want to do.
It's good. Who else?
I think mine is continued focus. I know what I need to do, and the majority of the time I don't do it. Like, I need to check my emails in the morning and in the evening. Otherwise, I need to turn notifications off. So every time I'm not distracted, every time it beeps, I need to get off of Facebook. Do it maybe in the morning, in the evening, whatever. Probably not in the morning. Anything that's distracting me from doing what I need to do, from doing the research, from coming up with new ideas for marketing and stuff has got to go.
Good. What
For
else?
me, I guess I'm going to say the same thing: the emails, internet, and anything related to this phone. Because I babysit 3 days a week, and 4 days I do not. So, giving up babysitting is not an option. But the main distraction for me would be this little phone that I have in my hand.
That's good.
Okay.
I think that's for all of us.
Good.
I have a problem with when I'm busy, I get about 3 million things done a day. And when I'm not, when I don't have the pressure on me, I don't do too much. So that's the problem. And the other thing is the challenge I have is really the pandemic is I can't really launch health coaching right now because half the world or a third of us have no jobs, so there's no money. So it's just a little bit of a challenge right now. And just the motivation is a little bit hard because we're kind of don't have much to do. You should be doing a lot, but then you don't do enough. You don't do as much as you would if you were busy. I think that's what I find.
That's good.
Okay.
For me, I think I just need to, I have a fairly stressful job. So a lot of times when I come home, I'm just spent. I don't really, and I justify taking some time for myself, which is not a bad thing, you know, sit and just relax and watch TV or whatever. And I've got to find a better way to do that because or find a way to put a limit on it so that I don't end up doing that until it's just time to go to bed. I don't know. I don't watch that much TV, but I always find something to distract me just to kind of unplug from the day and unplug from everything. And I need to figure out a better way to deal with that than that.
You know, it could also be a mindset. It could be a mindset thing, David, too. I remember back when I was working on my master's in divinity, which again is a huge I mean, it's like a second bachelor's degree, the amount of credits you have to put in to get that degree. And I was working full time. I was pastoring for free at a church, and I would do the same thing, right? I mean, working took a lot out of me. And so when you get home from work and you'd be like, man, I deserve an opportunity to sit down and watch 3 episodes of King of Queens, eat popcorn. I deserve it. I've earned that, right? And that was my mentality. But I'll never forget during my second semester, I get done watching, season 4 of King of Queens, literally in 2 weeks. And I kept saying to myself, man, school is so hard. I don't have time to do it. And myself, wait a minute. I've watched 2 episodes of King of Queens in the last 3 weeks, and I enjoyed it. But then I said, you know what else I enjoy? I enjoy going to class. I enjoy doing the homework. And I couldn't make the correlation in my mind that schoolwork was non-essential and King of Queens was essential. And I said, wait a minute, if I enjoy my dream and I enjoy the hard work, it is work of going to class, why can't I binge watch these classes instead of binge watching King of Queens? And wouldn't you know it, for that semester, I flipped the switch. And all of a sudden, classes that were supposed to take 8 to 10 weeks to complete, I was getting them done in 4 weeks because I'd get home from work, I'd spend some time with the kids and the wife, eat dinner, and then I'd go to my office. And I would literally binge watch 4 classes in a row of, Old Testament theory or, David in the Psalms or whatever the case was I was doing. I would watch 3 or 4 classes, do the notes, and I thought, man, I wish I would have done this all throughout my entire educational career because I'm now taking the essential things that I'm passionate about and I'm doing them. I just had to flip that switch in my mind that said, you deserve to watch King of Queens. And all of a sudden I had to say, you deserve to binge watch classes on New Testament studies or whatever, because this is your dream. And I was able to get my entire MDiv, all 3 years done in 3 years while working full time and while pastoring. But it's because I had to make that change, that mental switch in my mind, that it was just as exciting to watch a class than it was to watch King of Queens. Now, don't get me wrong. I know it took me a while to get there, but I had to choose what was essential and what was not essential.
Thank
I want
you.
to let you know,
Thank
David,
you.
you have
Just real quick, thank you for that conviction, because you just reminded me that when I went through staff and command, I was I didn't have a sergeant working under me, so I was doing my job, that person's job, or a big chunk of it, and going through staff and command, which they tell you when you go to that class, tell your boss or your whoever that you need 2 weeks off for the class, and then you can work for 2 weeks or whatever. And I did all of that while I was working, and it kicked my hiney. I mean, it really, really kicked my hiney, but I did it. And if I can do that, then clearly this is just an excuse. So thank you.
One thing that I've picked up in the last couple of weeks is that, I used to spend a lot of time watching television. Same thing. Work was stressful. I'd come home and crash in front of the TV, and that was just one thing that took a lot of my time. But one thing I find is that we can find ways to relax and spend time with our family and meet multiple things by eliminating some of those non-essentials. The last month or so, my wife and I have been spending maybe a half an hour every night reading together. And instead of me watching TV during that time, I'm spending time with her. It's relaxing. It's some spiritual growth because of the books we've been reading. And so I just think sometimes even in the way we relax or in the way we spend time with our family, we can rearrange that and find better ways of doing it.
Very good.
that's great. That's awesome.
Sometimes I do a calendar of the day. I try not to make myself micromanage myself, but if you put in your calendar what you're going to do the next day, it's a little bit of accountability, and that helps me too. Like you just write in, I'm going to exercise, here's my recreation time, and I'm going to get back to it. It really helps me stay focused, and it's a little bit of accountability.
That's good.
Really good. That's great. Awesome. Tom, you want to go on to number 6?
Yes. So this one is embrace all of your challenges. Embrace all of your challenges. Okay. So here's 2 questions. Bert, you say if there's a problem, what is it?
The problem. If there's a problem, I'm the problem, and I need to fix the problem.
Right. So here's the question. What needs to be changed, and how can you change it? Okay. When you're talking about challenges, what needs to be changed, and how can you change it?
This really hit home with this concept of relaxing is, let's sit down and watch TV. I'll do it. Suzanne does it. And it's like, that's crazy. I don't need to sit and do that. I can sit there. If I need to watch something, go watch a Maxwell video or a Cynic video, something like that. There are times I think at night when I put in my daily planner, read at night. Well, at night when I come home from work, I'm too tired I would read it, but not grasp it. So to me, that's pointless. If I'm just reading something and just reading the words, forget it. But I learned best, I think, by audio. So if I got a YouTube video on of Cynic or something and listening to it, that's a way for me to, I guess, wind down from the day and forget NCIS. So that was a very good thing today.
Good. So that's a challenge that you changed, right?
Yep.
That's good. My wife and I, we were playing a game yesterday while listening to an audiobook. So yeah, that was really cool.
One thing that I think we're all facing now is there are additional challenges in whatever we're doing simply because of this stay-at-home order and because of our work situations, and a lot of things have changed. So I think there's a lot extra challenges, and we have to look outside the box of, how we're going to do things. Even like now, it's like I couldn't go up to the school to meet with someone. So I had to find their email addresses to send it. So it's small things, but we've got to look of new ways of doing things, or ways that we wouldn't normally do things.
I think it's a challenge right now because like for nobody's really spending money on new ideas or whatever. And I did this a couple weeks ago. I reached out to 2 people in corporations that I health coach for, but since people are in a downtime, they might be more likely to answer an email. So if you have contacts that you can connect with right now before everything gets super busy again, I think I'm going to try to do that this week. Connect with more people that I used to do business with so that you can kind of set yourself up. I don't know, that's just like a challenge and an obstacle and a solution, I guess, maybe.
That's very good. Dave, you kind of brought up something earlier about how you kind of hit a roadblock, but you didn't allow that challenge to keep you hindered. But anybody else have a story or anything that you can share in regards to the challenges that you face, what needs to be changed, and how can you change it?
I think go ahead, Tom.
No, go ahead, Keith.
I was thinking, if we know what we need to do, like I need to knock off TV and watch whatever. I'm going back to Nike. Just do it. It's discipline. Everything to me, everything worthwhile requires big time discipline.
Absolutely. We did a podcast. By the way, we have podcasts that you can listen to, Bert and I that put together. It's called Life, Love, and Leadership. You can check that out on our website or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. But we did a podcast with Jim Orth, and that guy is a disciplined beast. He just has some, this strict regiment that he follows on a daily basis. And he does it for 2 reasons. For one, because of his health issues. But for the other, he just wants to be successful in what he does. So if you get a chance to check that out, his name is Jim Orth of, what is it called? What's it called? Do you remember, Bert? What is it?
Yeah, Detroit Ducks.
Detroit Ducks. Yeah. So it was a great podcast that we did. But check that out. But yeah, that's good, Denise. Everything you want to achieve has a price to pay, and you have to be willing to pay the price, right? And I text Bert. I texted you yesterday. What was that? I texted you a quote yesterday, and this is what it says. Ben Franklin was thought to have said, "Motivation is when your dreams put on work clothes." Motivation is when your dreams put on work clothes. So we got to be willing to work. And then there's this Italian proverb right here in the book on page 32. Between saying and doing, many a pair of shoes is worn out.
Ooh.
Right? So let's, we got just about 10 more minutes here. So let's look at that box here on page 32. Secure, the acronym for secure. S, state all your positions, right? We have to have something in mind and in our minds here. We can't just say, I want to lose weight, or we can't just say, I want to be a CPA. We have to do something that gets us closer to that goal. We have to begin to envision that, begin to think about that. Begin to set that goal, set that item in place. For instance, if I say I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months, right? And put that date on the calendar. By such and such a date, I want to lose this many pounds. Whatever the case may be, we're putting something out there that's more tangible, something that we can pinpoint, right? So again, S, state all your positions. E, examine all your actions. We've kind of covered that today. C, consider all your options, right? U, utilize all your resources. And R, remove all your non-essentials. And E, embrace all of your challenges. Okay? I love that King Solomon quote here. A sensible man watches for problems ahead and prepares to meet them. So, there's some folks in this particular crisis that we're in that have prepared ahead. I mean, they couldn't prepare for this particular crisis, but they have prepared ahead. We see where, in a lot of cases, we haven't prepared, right? We're caught in a place where we should have been preparing, but we didn't. How many remember back a while back that we needed to put an emergency kit away? Perhaps some toilet paper and some bottled water and some non-perishable goods, right? And then that kind of faded away. I don't know about for you, but it did for me. It faded away. We had that tough, big plastic container with all the essentials in there, and had it sitting under the stairway in case of an emergency. But all that stuff got old, and we just never replenished it. And I think that that's what happens, that we kind of get soft on what we're doing, and then we're no longer preparing for the opportunities that are coming our way. Any comments? Okay, so let's look at page 33 as we wrap up today. 33, this is to rate how well you're doing from 1 to 10, right? Questions to answer in your journal, okay? Or even here on this mastermind today. Number 1, have others used the same or similar strategy for achieving their dreams? And Bert kind of alluded to that earlier, finding that person that's already invented the wheel and used their resources. And number 2, is there an out-of-the-box solution that you haven't previously considered? So let's park there for a second. Is there an out-of-the-box solution that you haven't previously considered? Did any of you find or discover anything this week in regards to your dreams? It's an out-of-a-box solution that maybe you could share.
I did. I think the website, going to a minimalist website instead of a ton of just information out there. I'm not out there to give free information. I'm out there for these people to make contact with me. So if I got 2 or 3 pages, and nobody's doing that, as far as I can tell from all my research I've done last week. Everybody's got a huge website, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try this. I think it's going to go.
Very good.
It might not have been out of the box for some people, but for me, going to a community college for the classes I need, Bert actually suggested that to me, and that was kind of out of the box for me. So that's definitely something I'm going to look into.
Very good.
I'm not sure if it's out of the box, but I think of it as Captain Obvious, that I should have seen before, which is, I think it was Keith that talked about not watching a certain show. I know Bert mentioned the same thing or whatever, but for me, it's not. It was the fact that I could spend that time watching something constructive, like a podcast or something that furthers my thinking and reinforces my thinking, and instead of just something entertaining. I can still unplug from what I want to unplug from, but I can plug into something that I want to plug into at the same time.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Bert kind of alluded to that earlier.
Yes.
Well, he actually said it when he said that, wow, I could have had a V8. I could have been listening to these videos for class all this time, right? And that's kind of how we look at it. They're out of the box scenario. So
Tom, let me just share one.
Yeah, go ahead.
In this week, obviously, again, you guys know I own a home care company, and we're trying to provide as much, personal protective equipment as we can. We talked about the mask thing weeks ago, right? And so up to this point, we hired women that were unemployed to sew masks, and we've purchased well over 1,400 sewn masks just in the last month from people who have done that. So all my caregivers have masks, but other new stuff has come up now. And for example, one of them was hand sanitizer, right? And You can't buy it anywhere. You can't buy hand sanitizer. It's not available. And so we've heard about all these distilleries that produce alcohol are now making medical grade alcohol for sanitizing your hands. And one thing that's come up is, how do we get a hold of hand sanitizer? How do we buy it? And so when you go to buy hand sanitizer from these distilleries, you can't purchase 2-ounce bottles of hand sanitizer. They're selling them gallon or 5-gallon jugs. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? And so we figured out a way to come up with a couple of different bottles. And bottom line is this: the challenges are always going to be there, right? And we always talked about this. Creativity, success does not breed creativity. Prior to this pandemic, I never had to say, man, I need to start bottling hand sanitizer and figure out a way to get it. That never crossed my mind. But when you think tough times, that's when it gets creative. So I just want to show you guys, we could not find any hand sanitizer, but now this week we have hand sanitizer, right? We had to figure out a place in Alabama. Can you guys see the picture on the screen right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had to find a company in Alabama because these bottles were sold out. You go to Uline, you go to I spent hours, guys, trying to find 2-ounce hand sanitizer bottles. And so we found the bottles and we found the foaming pumps. And so it was a company in Alabama that sells soap making stuff to people that have a hobby of making soap. And so we found those and we reached out to Science by Tomorrow to get the labels made up, and they had to be vinyl labels because when the alcohol gets on them, if it's paper, it'll just strip away. And I thought to myself, this is great. And then we tried to figure out, how do we bottle this stuff? Because these are little tiny openings in the top. And I didn't want to sit there with a funnel and a 1-gallon jug to try to figure this out. And so we ended up finding a machine on Amazon that allows us to literally portion out a certain amount of liquids by pushing a foot pedal to distribute the right amount of liquids every single time into the bottle so it doesn't overflow. And so I share this with you guys because, again, there's always going to be challenges, right? There will always be challenges with our dreams and what we have to do, but we can't let that stand in the way, because now I have 250 bottles of hand sanitizer. And now that we have that refillable machine, now when the caregivers run out of hand sanitizer, they can walk back into our office, put their empty bottle under that nozzle, push the foot pedal, and it will refill the hand sanitizer for them. So now we have an unlimited supply of hand sanitizer for our caregivers. And there are other companies out there who are saying, we can't find hand sanitizer, we can't get hand sanitizer. And the truth is they can, if they were just willing to think outside of the box and put the work into it. I have other home care companies calling me now, asking me for our hand sanitizer. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'll sell it to you. I'll bottle hand sanitizer for you, and I'm going to give it to you in a home instead bottle. So, I mean, just think about this. There's always a way to overcome challenges if you're willing to think through it. Run into the challenge. Don't run away from the challenge, right? So I just want to encourage you guys, no matter what tough times you face coming up in chasing your dreams, you can overcome those challenges if you just press through and keep on working towards it.
Awesome. Bert, before we wrap up, I want us to just cover one more question, it's an action question for all of us. It's the last one on page 33 there. It says, how will you keep yourself on track as you pursue your strategy? How will you keep yourself on track this week as you pursue your strategy? Okay? Is that good stuff? Be thinking about, put a mental note or actually write down what action are you going to take today or tomorrow that is going to get you closer to your dream. Okay? So with that, is there anything else, Bert?
Hey, Tom, can I add something
No.
here?
Yes.
I just want to say, having this weekly meeting and knowing that you're going to hold me accountable is one that's kept me on track, because I don't want to answer up and say, hey, I haven't done anything this week. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. This thing is huge. I wish you could go on. I know you can't go on forever, but this is very good. It's a good accountability group.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
The right price.
It is the right price, and I'll talk to you later. Like, maybe you should charge for this. a little bit.
Well, actually, we do charge for this. It's just that during this time of the stay at home, we want to offer a resource that is available to everyone, so everybody can get exposed to something as great as this. So, listen, we have. We hope that this has been valuable to you, and if you found value in it, please share it with other people. Let them know about this mastermind that's going on Saturdays at 10 a.m. and the one that we're doing called Leading Through Crisis on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. That one's also free, and that's powerful discussions going on there based on the teaching by John Maxwell under the same name, Leading Through Crisis. So that's something you check out. Also, point people to our website, realleadershipcompany.com, where we offer other things that people can pay for, to be a blessing to our company, because we did start it to make money, but to also help people. That's what we're here for. So, we offer coaching and training and other things. So if you can, let me ask this question: who do you know that we should know? So if you think of anybody, if anybody comes to mind, connect them to us, and we'll be much appreciative of that. Anything else, Bert?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you guys have
Why did you, what's Unstuck University? Is that the name you picked?
Yeah, so the quick little story on that, side story, was when I had this word, unstuck or stuck, in my spirit. And I really was... just thinking there's a lot of folks that are stuck right now, stuck in where they are in their marriage. They need some help to get their marriage back on track again, or there's CEOs that are stuck in their company and how to manage it, or there's someone stuck between jobs, or whatever the case may be. And so I was really telling Bert about this, and I'll just tell you one quick little story. So as I began to tell him more about this, and we began to develop Unstuck University, Unstuck U, as a training camp to help people get unstuck. Well, as we were developing this, I went to this church growth seminar. At least that's what I thought it was. And when I arrived, there before each of us was a book. Guess what the title of that book was? Unstuck. Unstuck. And I called Bert right away. I said, you'll never guess what book I'm holding in my hand. And I talked to the writer of that book, who happened to be doing that seminar there right afterwards, to tell him the story. So it was powerful, but that led us to the fact that, yes, we're going to have Unstuck University to handle all of our curriculum. We plan on even writing and developing some more leadership curriculum, as well as offering the stuff that John Maxwell allows us to offer. But we also needed a name for our company. And so we came up and developed Real Leadership Company. That's our company. That's where we operate from. But inside, our study and encouragement and all that comes from the Unstuck University. So we hope we've helped all of you get unstuck through this mastermind. Bert, anything else?
Just come next week prepared. Again, you want to do your activity sheet. We're going to hold you guys accountable to that again next week and the week after, because again, 21 days to a habit. And then we're going to dive into chapter 6, which is the people question. And to me, the people question is the most important question of the dream, because dreams are built by people, not just individuals. So we're going to be talking about that next week. The question is, have I included the people I need to realize my dream? And again, I'm sitting in a dream right now, and it all happened because I teamed up with other people. So we're going to discuss that next week. Keep on chugging along, guys. It's been awesome being able to sit in with everyone of you. And again, realleadershipcompany.com. That's our website. We encourage you guys to check that, and we will see you guys next week.
Okay, I just wanted to say this. Thank you guys for the information. However, I was unable to download it on my phone. And Tom, if I could get your number, that would be great. I'm going to try to download it after we hang up, but I was unable to do so while we were on the phone.
Sure thing. Real quick, my number is 734-341-2815.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you all for being a part of this mastermind. Again, we'll be meeting on Thursday night at 7 p.m. for a Leading Through Crisis Mastermind. You can register for that on our website at realleadershipcompany.com or back here again next Saturday at 10 a.m. And thank you for joining us. God bless you all.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Hey, everybody.
see you next week.